can't say that.
I can't say that?
Hey, move it! Move it! What the heck is wrong with you? I feel like I'm in a drive-in movie. I'm editing that out. Hey, I'm Scott Baxter, your local lake life realtor here in Rockwall, Texas. And you know, I brought my wife with me today, Erica. Say hi, Erica.
Hi, Erica.
Hi, Erica. Anyways, she's gonna give you some insights as well as me for our trip from Washington to Texas. And we're on our 2-year anniversary right now. We just bought our house just first week in October 2 years ago. And we're right at the beginning of November here. So we have a good amount of information we'd like to hand off to you guys. And hopefully it'll be helpful in your journey to Texas. I think you're gonna have different perspectives from men and women on moves. So I think it's really important for Erica to be here and for you guys to hear what she has to say and not just what I have to say, because they're probably gonna be different, to be honest. And some of the questions we probably haven't even talked about in a long time. So we'll just kind of figure it out as we go. Our journey from the Pacific Northwest to Texas, we landed in Seattle after being in New Zealand for 5 years, and we landed in Seattle at 2017, and we had 2 boys with us, our kids, and we landed in Seattle, and we were there for 4 years, and about 2 years in, we started looking at Texas.
Yep, we had a realtor friend that I knew from California when I lived there, and he lives in Austin now. So he's been in Austin for about 10 years. So he just kept saying, you gotta move to Texas, you gotta move to Texas.
And we'd go down just in Christmas time, me and my oldest son, we'd just be like, we gotta get out of the rain, we gotta get out of winter. So we'd go down to Corpus Christi, we'd go horseback riding down here in Texas. We'd come down and eat all the barbecue. And by the time we came back a couple times, we were like, we're going, we're going. No matter what, we're going. And so we had just bought a house up there in Renton, Washington. I'm gonna give you a comparison at the end here, so stick around till the end, but I'm gonna give you a comparison between Renton and Rockwall and kind of give you an idea about where we came from and where we're at now and the pluses and minuses of both.
I think the biggest thing maybe was the weather. Number one was, you know, coming down in December and being able to actually go out and really do a lot of things. We did enjoy the Washington. I mean, on the Washington side, you've got a lot of skiing, and so you have the mountains right there. So there's a big plus on that. You do not have that down here in Texas, although you can go very quickly, you know, over to Colorado and into the mountains.
That's
there.
not bad, really. I mean, it's like a less than an hour trip on a plane over to Denver, and then you could drive up to Breckenridge or Vail or wherever you want to go to your heart's delight. And I kind of like that. And I grew up in the Northwest, so I left when I was about 22, and what am I, 28 now? I left when I was 22, and I love the snow skiing, you know, and we always water skiing, and that's why I love the lake life here in Texas, because the water's generally always warm. And in Washington, I remember there was a dam, and we were in the lake on the bottom, and the dam would let out like water from like 320 feet below the surface, which was really cold. So even in the summer, you're wearing a wetsuit. Here, you're not wearing a wetsuit at all, really.
Yeah, so sometimes if it's really hot, it's not as refreshing as you'd like it to be. But that's one thing I would say, like summer activities here, you're definitely in the water. So I guess we could just really talk about weather in general. You know, in Seattle, it was just really rainy, much more rain, which I actually don't mind the rain. I love the rain, but it's the constant gray. So when the rain comes, you're having weeks of grayness. Whereas here, the storms come very quickly. I mean, they're pretty crazy, I will say, but they come quickly, they disappear quickly, and then it's sunny again. So, and that was a little bit similar to us. We lived in Wellington, New Zealand. It was the same way. The storms come very quickly, and then all of a sudden it's sunny. So in Wellington, they used to say you could have 4 seasons in one day. You can have that here in Texas as well.
All right, how about driving compared to Renton, Washington?
They're crazy. They are crazy here in Texas.
I'm going to give you an idea of what it's like in Texas driving. Okay, here you go. You're in the fast lane. You're going 80. Hey, move it! Move it!
Oh, they're on your tail. They're on your tail, and if you're not going 80, you are going too slow. So stay out of the fast lane if you are not going to go 20 miles over the limit. And then you're still going to have to look out for people. And I wouldn't say it's not really road ragey. I'm not going to say that necessarily.
It's not.
It's not. It's just that people are, I don't know. It's definitely a Texas way of driving.
It seemed like in Washington I got a lot of road rage headed towards me.
I would say the's probably more road rage up there than there is
And
here. I mean,
over
you're going to
here-
see every once in a while, but there's more up in Seattle. Here they're just crazy drivers.
You just gotta join the pack. Just gotta. So another thing is, like, there'll be a stoplight here, and nobody will honk if somebody's sitting at a stoplight and it turns green
too
because
nice.
everybody's too nice. And everybody just, everybody's sitting on their
Just sit and
phones.
you wait.
And then sometimes you miss the whole light because nobody will honk. And then, you get a Washingtonian in there, and then we honk.
Yeah.
Nicely, just a people. Well, let's talk about specifically wildlife in Rockwall compared to wildlife in Renton. So when you woke up in Renton, Washington, Seattle, you always woke up to crows in your backyard. So it's really fun, waking up at 6 a.m.
And I was like, oh my God, this might drive me crazy.
Who had the better caw?
Yeah, who was
Leave it
better?
in the comments. Erica or Scott?
But here in Texas, I will say you can experience what we had a little. They're not as songbirdy as they were in New Zealand, but it is much nicer now that I get to wake up and out the window are really lovely birds. And we can go have coffee on the deck. And so we're on the greenbelt, and so that just makes it even more lovely. Now, they do have some blackbirds here that is kind of like the Texas crow, and they make a unique sound, and apparently a lot of people here in Texas say they're like, oh, they're annoying. I'm like, you haven't been to Seattle, not a Seattle crow. And I've actually been pooped on in Seattle by a crow as well. So,
See, the birds in Seattle are just jerks.
they're jerks. I was standing at the bus stop and got pooped on.
I got pooped on in Seattle too.
Now, we had a really fun experience in our neighborhood. We had a wild hog that decided to make its home in our greenbelt for a while. He was here for about 6 months.
People say, hey, are there gators in the lakes over there? I made sure we chose a lake with no gators. And this is deep enough into Texas to where there's not going to be any alligators. Somebody said there was one like on the lake up above, Lake Lavon, at the north side of it or something, just one. But we've never seen anything in here. I've never even seen a snake here in both
Not
2
much
years.
here. I will say they're more around the Austin area, sort of in that hill country, central.
Okay, I don't want to live anywhere that has scorpions.
Oh.
And they say they're around, but not around Rockwall, as far as I know.
Yeah,
That's another Austin hill country sort of thing.
Yeah.
Scorpions, you'll find them. And up here, I haven't seen snakes or scorpions or crocodiles, and that's the trifecta, baby. That's the trifecta. We have a back camera on our deck, on our stairs, and we've seen possums, raccoons,
Armadillo and the gray fox.
and the number one animal that we see in Rockwall is squirrels. We have so many squirrels.
There's a lot of squirrels.
In Renton, I would get homeless people walking up my driveway. You put a pile of wood out there, and they're coming up and trying to see what they can steal from your pile of wood if there's anything in it. And in back of our house, our kid would be jumping on the trampoline, and there's a church parking lot, and there'd be people doing drugs back there and people going crazy, just sleeping back there. And I mean, I tried to clean up as much as possible, but having your kid bounce on a trampoline and he's like 5 years old, and then having these homeless people literally 10 feet away on the other side of your fence,
Defecating.
drugs, defecating, the whole thing. It was so frustrating, and that's what really made us move. And now, that's never going to happen now. This community's gated, and I live with a forest behind me, so I fixed that problem forever. And that's what really irritated me about Renton and the crime rate. The crime rate is almost zero here. I mean, I don't want to say almost zero, but the crime rate is very low in Rockwall. And I mean, it's pretty much the people that move here are retired police, retired military, retired football. So you don't want to mess with anybody that lives here, but everybody lives in peace. And I think that's what Rockwall really offers, is a really nice, safe family atmosphere with lake life, friendliness, the community. One thing we haven't talked about is the church. We came down, our buddy Frank West, he's like, move to Texas, you gotta get a church, Baxter. You know, we got a church and we really like it. Now it's just trying to get teenagers to go to church.
Yeah.
That's the whole, everybody has that problem. They'll come around, but I think there's a lot of people in town
good
go
community.
to church.
Yeah, there's lots of churches here. So you're definitely in Texas. If you are, you're gonna find something that you like because there's a multitude of them.
Oh, I feel like I'm in a drive-in movie. Alcohol sales. Rockwall is a dry county. Used to be. You can get beer and wine at the store. In order to get liquor, you can't buy it at Costco like some places. In order to get liquor, you're going to have to go about 10 minutes up the 30 east, and there's 2 liquor stores up that way. There's one in Mobile City, and there's one in Fate. And then if you go across towards Dallas, there's tons over there. But they don't sell liquor on Sundays. So you have to get it, well, you can get beer and wine on Sundays, but you can't get hard liquor on Sundays. So just be warned, if you're gonna want some whiskey or something like that for the weekend, just get it on a Saturday before the Sunday happens. So the cost of living in Seattle was pretty high, definitely compared to Texas. You can get much more of a home in the Dallas area and the Rockwall area than you can like where we came from in Renton, Washington, about 25% less. So what else do you got?
Property taxes are going to be higher here in Texas than they are in Washington. So Washington, they're pretty reasonable, and here they are high. So you want to take that into account when you're looking at, the price of a house that you're going to buy. So you think, oh, well, then I'll have to buy a little bit lower of a price of a house.
Let's do some math. Seattle, Washington, people making over $250,000 a year get taxed 7% for capital gains tax. Let's say you make $260,000 a year, times that 7%, that's $18,200. Dallas has no capital gains tax. Property tax. Seattle has 1.05% property tax. Dallas has 2.22% property tax. On a $1 million home, you'll be paying $11,500 more in Dallas. Okay, hear me out. If you are in this bracket, if you made $260,000 a year, Seattle would charge you $18,200 in capital gains taxes. For a $1 million home, you would pay $11,500 more per year in Dallas than Seattle. So you would actually be saving $6,700 a year moving to Dallas. And we are doing a property tax vote right now in Texas, which could save you about $1,200 a year voted in.
Our house was 1,400 square feet. Mom and Dad shared a bathroom with the 2 boys.
Yeah.
And then there's a bathroom way on the other side, which was kind of like a half bath. And that was by the office, which was just a living room turned into office.
And we didn't trade up in price when we got here. We
really
did.
Down.
We stayed, well, pretty much almost at the same, but we gained, a
Down.
5-bedroom house with 5 baths.
3,700 square feet instead.
Yeah, and a beautiful deck on a green belt, which, so it was, definitely, you're trading up. One thing that I think we hope to do, as Scott hopes to do as your realtor too, is to help you acknowledge the whole package of your move or where you're moving to, so that it's not just about like, let's just get you into the right place, because you want to take those things into account, based on your financial situation or what you're looking for, what you prefer to spend your money on, and what you don't want to spend your money on. So,
who wants her to get her real estate license? Me.
But anyway, so general cost of living, I would say, is definitely less. Schools, way better. Now, I will say though,
Where?
in Renton.
Which one?
Oh, here in Dallas, in Texas.
Gotta specify. I mean, Rockwall Heath High School here is it's a 6A school. It's amazing. Our kid, he's in 9th grade, he loves it. Everybody loves it that goes in. And even the middle school, they're like, yeah, it was a pretty good experience, but I really like the high school.
Yes.
So our kids are very happy. One's in 6th grade, one's in 9th grade, and they are very, very, very happy. I asked them
And the elementary
over and over.
school is amazing. Amazing. All of the elementary schools here, I don't hear any complaints on any, like somebody's like, oh, you're at that better one, or no.
Yeah.
Wow.
And the 9th grade center, one of them, the ones our kid's going to go to, is right next to Gene Burton Academy. And then my son's in the STEM for science and math. You know, he wants to be an engineer. But that school has a barbecue team. Can you believe it?
Yes, when you're in Texas.
You can get on a barbecue
we have a
team.
barbecue team with the high school. It's awesome.
So last year, our barbecue team from Rockwall were state champions out of, 900 schools, and then they went to nationals. Right now they're doing a big thing on the 30. That's the main road that goes into Dallas and goes all the way past Royce City, where Buc-ee's is. We have a Buc-ee's. And they're doing a whole expansion. They're actually building twice as much bridge. They're doing lanes. They're doing this whole big thing because they know the people are coming. So they're already started on it. And it's going to be some construction for a little bit, but it's exciting stuff. It's going to make the commute into Dallas not as bad.
Yes. And we already have that one extra lane that's already opened up, and it's already a difference of feeling that on the way back.
Oh, good.
So it's getting there. You know what? They're fast. They're actually pretty quick with it. You see changes, so they're moving quickly. I think they recognize.
I've seen cities go for 20 years on just one little part of the road.
People here in Texas are exceptionally nice, and I'll just say that. They really are. I mean, when you're comparatively, I'm sure probably there's a lot of Texans that'll be like, huh? But I think this is personal experience, but definitely coming from Seattle and having moved to Seattle, I have to say, well, we didn't know our neighbors for years.
No.
Like, seriously, we did not know our neighbors. And we landed here, and I knew my neighbors within a week.
I think it just takes a little bit longer in Seattle. People are a little bit more kept to themselves. Here, you just hang out with the neighbors as soon as you get here, at least in our neighborhood.
I was like, oh my God, I'm not meeting enough. There's not enough people. Like, what do we do to meet friends? And like, so you do have to make some effort. In Seattle, you got like a lot more effort. If you have kids, of course, you're going to kind of evolve those friendships, probably out of your kids, meeting their friends at school. But here, people are just really, really friendly, and they're not afraid to just have a conversation with you wherever you are, whether you're in Target or the grocery store. People are gonna say hi. We happen to live in a neighborhood where everyone waves when you're driving by or walking by. So if you're walking in the neighborhood, somebody drives by, they're waving.
It's like the Jeep community. Everybody waves.
Everybody waves here in our neighborhood. And it's kind of, I don't know if it's all over. I think it's really, I don't know if it's just our neighborhood, but.
Yeah, everybody just drives around their golf carts too in
Yeah.
our neighborhood. So I'm going to do actually a video on our neighborhood, Chandler's Landing, and just kind of show you guys what kind of houses you can get, new and used, and the prices. All right, let's talk for when we moved to Texas from Seattle. The first time we moved to Austin, and now we're up in Rockwall. Why are we up in Rockwall? We have different stories on that. But
well, our story, I will say, on my side is, we were just renting in Austin and just kind of checking things out. And we landed in a really lovely neighborhood, which we absolutely adored.
by Lakeway.
However, we started noticing the prices of the houses were rising, and everywhere was just multiple. So we moved in 2021. So the market back then, there was still this place of it was just high competition. So it was, if you wanted to pay for a house, you were going to pay more money. You had to bid.
Pretty much we were going to be stuck.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't like that. I don't want to be part of that bidding. I'm not going to pay $100,000 more for a house than I want to pay. Just because I had to compete with somebody else that had free money. Because those were the people that you were like somewhat competing with, and it's just like, and so the market was starting to kind of come down a little bit. We just kind of were looking around, and we just weren't going to quite get what we were looking for in the Austin area.
It'd be the same as Renton. We're going to end up in a 1,400 square foot
yeah,
house.
And we
by
were
the time we
trying
got
to
there.
look out. We were trying to expand, you know, kind of where we want to live, looking further at, like, I mean, there's definitely some opportunity around there in Austin. I think it's beautiful. I love the hill country. I really, really do. But just looking at where we were at our place and time, and then we were also looking at mortgage rates increasing. So our mortgage officer was like, she's like, if you can buy now, buy now. So we were like, oh well. And then we didn't want to move the kids again. So we were renting. And then I was like, well, if we're not going to buy in this neighborhood, I'm going to have to move the kids again and then put them in different schools. And that's what just honed me down. I'm like, yeah, we got to buy now. Let's get out. Let's get to where these kids can finish out their school in a right place. So
They were not happy.
They were not happy to start school somewhere, and literally we pulled them 2 months later, and I guess we were like, we're moving to Dallas. So we just decided that we would take a look at Dallas.
Why? Because all our neighbors were moving to Dallas. I don't know what happened. I was going around like, where are these moving trucks at? Like, where are you going? They're like, oh, I'm moving to McKinney.
Yes, that's right.
It's like, where are you moving? Oh, I'm moving over here. You know, I was like,
there were a lot of people in our Austin neighborhood that were moving to Dallas, which was really funny. So, and then I had a friend who was also thinking of moving from Washington, and they were looking at Dallas because their sister-in-law was here. So that kind of was like, oh gosh, why do I keep hearing all this stuff about Dallas? And then I had talked to that recruiter, and I'm like, there's a lot of like good things I'm hearing about Dallas. And so we just started tooling around, and we looked at a lot of neighborhoods here in Dallas. And I will have to say, we drove down through Rockwall, and we walked into our house, and we just said, yeah, that's home. That's it. And we saw the lake and the marina.
but I think
And
the
so you know
north suburbs are really popular. And so that's where everybody gravitates to.
Yeah.
And we checked out McKinney, and I was just like, gosh, this is just city. It's just city
It
everywhere.
is. Yeah, it's definitely North Dallas has expanded. It already has really gone through its expansion.
It's just another part of Dallas at this point. And I didn't want to be so much in the city. I just wanted I wanted a country road here and there, and that's why we started looking at Wiley a little bit. And then once we got to Rockwall, though, we were like, oh, see, now this
It was quieter.
is nice.
It was.
Okay, here's the deal. When we came down to Washington to Austin, I just had this feeling that I was trying to escape Washington because I didn't agree with a lot of things that were going on up there. And I came to Austin, and I felt like I just moved to the place I escaped from. Austin had the same rules. Austin had the same way of running things, and I was like, I think Austin's more of a place that if you're really nervous about moving to Texas and you don't want anything changing from where you're at except, I don't know, a great life, then move to Austin. This feels like Texas. It's a complete different game. So in Austin, we checked out Cedar Park, Leander, Lakeway, and Spicewood. Spicewood I liked. It was a little further out. That was my favorite spot of them all. Lakeway was my secondary. But Leander was really nice. It was a little far out. But to me, it's just a little bit like it's just expanding so rapidly. It's just going to be a big city before you know it. And then you're in the middle of a city. So to me, I didn't really want that. I think this over here in Rockwall is a little bit more country, small town oriented. Those spots are nice. Lots of new stuff going on there. Lots of new master plan communities. But it just really wasn't for me. Maybe I just like the country roads more. And maybe I just wanted more of I wanted to feel that Texas experience.
Yeah, and I think just over here, just because we have the lakes, is kind of that's what separates you. So you have a bit more effort to come over on this side of town. So even though this will begin to grow more as well, I think there's a big effort on the part of the local communities to keep housing maybe not as condensed, or you're going to find some areas that are condensing and then people aren't as for that. So I think some votes are going to change, so I think people are really keeping it up. People are really involved here as well. So people are really making sure that they know what they're voting for. One thing to acknowledge for Rockwall, it is one of the suburbs.
You can't say that.
I can't say that?
What's wrong with you? Trying to get me fired? I'm editing that out.
You can edit that out. Well, hopefully we gave you some information so you can make a well-thought decision on where you might want to live in Texas. If you're looking onto this side, give Scott a call, text, email, all sorts of things. You can contact him. And of course, we're more than happy to assist with living somewhere else if it doesn't turn out that you want to be on this side of Dallas. But we love it, and maybe you'll come out on this side and be our neighbor.
Wow, she does the outros better than I do. Real estate license, real estate license. Go, Erica. All right, well, thanks, sweetie. Thanks for helping me out. And she's always my camera woman when I go into the houses and stuff. So she's learning the ropes. And she now you can say, well, if you can't do it, I'm just going to do it better. So you're going to do all my outros from now on.
Okay.
All right, everybody. We'll see you later from the Baxters.
Bye.